Hey there, SEJers. This is Amy Gahran, your blogger-in-chief again, who was not such a good blogger today because I didn't post too much. I didn't post anything today. I'm sorry. The reason is I ran 3 events yesterday at the conference, and they were all great successes, but I was so fried by the end of it, and then I was at the hotel bar until 1:30. We closed the bar down. That today I was just fried, so I did a lot of cool stuff. Here's a quick overview of what I did. Okay, so in the morning I went to a couple of really great sessions. The first one was the TV session, the one that Vince Patton and Jeff Burnside were doing on how to pitch stories to editors. And what I hadn't realized there was that in TV land, unlike print land, editors or news directors get very excited when they get emails or when the reporter in pitching a story can indicate that there is a real audience for the story. So it might be a good idea to get involved with some local communities, whether it's through your own news organization's site or through a blog or through community forums or whatever. But just engage them in conversation. There's that conversational media thing again, and make it something that you can get some letters from them and pass on to your news director. Another example of how conversational media is getting to be a very valuable skill for journalists. Another thing to keep in mind then, moving on to the next session I went to, which was the megawatts thing. All right, I'm an old energy geek. I covered it back in the early 90s, and apparently the whole demand-side management thing, which is limiting electric demand, finding new energy resources through energy efficiency, is coming around again. It's getting fashionable again. And the thing I learned from covering that before is that that really only works as a strategy if there is a real long-term commitment to it. It can't go in fashion and out of fashion, because when you're building electric capacity, you kind of got to plan a few years ahead. So, Richard Coward, I think his last name is. I'll check that and I'll list it in the text related to this post. Was talking about how there really needs to be regulatory support for it, long-term regulatory support. And I think he's right on that. And also, there's an energy efficiency utility called Efficiency Vermont, and there's a gentleman there speaking from that. And he was saying how they basically have, instead of working within the existing utility structure, they started their own separate entity to go about it. Excuse me. I think that makes a lot of sense because, I've covered utilities. They're really not inclined to change, and they don't like anything that says that they need to sell people less energy. That just, kind of rubs them the wrong way. So I like what they're doing in Vermont. Maybe that could work elsewhere. The lunch on FOIA issues was great. Pat Leahy was frigging amazing. I really enjoyed that. And Rob McClure stood up and asked at one point, apparently there's some FOIA-related legislation, transparency legislation that's coming up. I'll have to look up the details on that. But Robert stood up and he asked Senator Leahy if, let's see if I can say this right. Okay. Since we have members of all 50 states here at the SEJ conference, just like 800 attendees here. Wow, a lot of people. But journalists from all 50 states here, would it make sense for those journalists to each call their senators and check to see if anybody is trying to put a hold on that legislation? Because remember, those Senate holds are secret. They don't like to talk about them, but maybe if you ask a direct question. And Robert McClure is saying, why leave this up to the bloggers? I'm like, why not leave this up to the bloggers? So if you're watching this, I'll find some links on that legislation. You're a citizen too, and you can do some reporting too. Call your senator's office, and let's get some distributed reporting on this. Why leave this up to the journalists? Anyway, no, I'm not trashing journalists. I just think this is something where we could work together. And now I need to get myself together. We're having an event over at Shelburne Farms. I will take pictures of that. And I'll post more later, but man, I'm sorry, I've just been too fried today. So that's the report from the hotel lobby, and this is your blogger-in-chief, Amy Gahran, signing off for now. Later.